Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 48 of Rocky Off the Rails. I'm Great Northern JJ, aka John, and we've got a whole crew in here right now. We've got 8 people watching. So let's see. Might have noticed a little bit of changes in the channel. I have bit the bullet and I have got changed to StreamYard pay model because they discounted it 50%. So yeah, let's go around the horn here before we get started. Hot Dog Andy Pilot was the first one in. I don't have a cookie here, but we'll give you a virtual cookie. There you go. James, Dundas Junction Model Railroad is here. Welcome. Kevin Brown is also here. JP, welcome. Liz with Windsor Valley Railroad is here. Dan is here from Ohio. And let's see, Dwight, of course, is here. He is in the house. Let us switch to a view here as a train goes by. There we go. We got a train going by. How good is that? Okay. Let's see. Who did I miss? No, I got to Dwight. JP's already there. Yeah, we can see that's going past that little cabin that I've got sitting there with the old truck. And Hot Dog Andy Pilot's back here. Let's see. The train's looking okay at the moment. Let's go see another view of the train. Okay, this is my military train. Not completely done. Yes, that cabin is a Woodland Scenics cabin. That is a Woodland Scenics cabin. And Rocky's there to say hello to everybody. I think I have another cabin that's the lighted ones. And I'm not sure, this may be the cabin I put there, or I may make that little corner be a little farm scene. I'm not sure yet. We'll figure it out. I'm watching carefully because my loads are not tied down. And I've had a few things drop off onto the ground. Well, onto the N scale ground. Let's see. We'll switch back up. We've got a train leaving the main staging yard. And we've got today's star of the show, beyond this military train. I just got these. I got 2 SD40s OT-2s. They're called lobotomized. Not sure why, but that's what they're called. And so here's one coming right past the camera right now, right in front of the cabin. That does look nice. It does have a flash on the top. I don't know if that's addressable. I suppose I should check the manual. I know that the number boards are on the other one, and I don't seem to have them on right now. Oh, you have to turn the sound on for the number boards to come on. Not sure that I like that, but it's okay. I have another one. that if I switch views here, you'll see the front end of it right here. That's a Kodachrome Southern Pacific style. Okay, what's in the two big boxes? Hey, Daz Faulkner, Station Engage. Welcome to the show. My brother Dan asks, what's in the two big boxes on that thing? So that train, I'm saying, is a local. It's got stuff for the power company. So it's got 4 loads of power poles. The last 2 I need to paint still. And then it's got 2 big transformers. So that's what those are, riding on that depressed center, those 2 depressed center flat cars. So they go back to the SP. This is called a Kodachrome. It's still an SD40 OT-2 lobotomized. This is a repaint. I don't know what the original, it may have still been the original number, but the number on this is 8530. This is a model from Scale Trains. It turns out that I will be sending this back because sound comes on, lights work, addressing was barely possible, but there's something going wrong with that. Hey, Pete Motley, welcome to the show. So let me show you some other things before the train gets by here. Hand to God, because the motor is not operational on this SP right now. So I also got 3 more Railsmith Big Sky Blue coaches. I think this is a sleeper. And 2 more Vistadomes. So that's nice. That's a really nice addition there. So move that past the camera. And we'll go back and we catch the military train coming in again. See, it's taken a few minutes to go around. I have got these 2 locomotives speed matched with the previous previous show's speed match device, which I've got somewhere in the train room here. I think it's over on the shelf. Yeah, so looking good. And that tail end is a coach. It says something like rapid U.S. Army deployment. I see these Humvees are already moving around on the flat car. So on the military train, we have several different vehicles. We've got a Dragon carrier. We've got 2 of them. We've got a painted one and an unpainted one. I need to paint that up. We have Humvees. Okay, that is cool. That is cool. Thanks for looking that up, JP. They have extra modified drive shafts. Very cool. Okay, back to what I was talking about. We've got Humvees. So that puts this probably around the era of the first Gulf War, right? Shortly after that, before we got into Afghanistan, we retired most of those because they're not armored enough. So there's 9 of those on 3 flat cars. And then we have 10 Abrams. I have M1A1s and M1A2s. And then finally, there are 7 Bradleys, of which only 1 of them is painted because I bought it that way. 6 others are 3D printed, and they will be painted soon. So that's what we got on the military train. Coming past Rocky right now is, again, that SD40 OT-2 lobotomized. She does look nice. And I painted up those log loads, telephone poles, and then those two big boxes are transformers. So we get another view as it comes back through on track one, right underneath the computer. Wow. Yes, you've got to get the military train out there, Dwight. That would be great. But we can add it to the things of all the things that we have stacked up to do. You know, if the one amazing thing about the hobby is that we always have tasks to do, even if we're at the tail end of the layout, and that task is to run trains or do switching or operations or rail fanning. So it's all pretty cool. Andy, thanks for his service. He was working at the U.S. Air Force Base the day Afghanistan kicked off. I'm sure it was chaos. And must have been crazy. Yeah. War is nothing but nonstop crazy. That's for sure. For everybody involved. Anyways, not to get into that kind of topic, what else did we get in the last week? So I got those two SD40-2s from Scale Trains. I got 3 of those Big Sky Blue Great Northern Empire Builder passenger cars. Now I'm up to a total of, let me count, 9 of those. So according to JP's research, lobotomized means that it's lost its mind. No, it's some kind of modified drive shaft or drivetrain. So I'm watching it from the other side of the layout, and they're all good at the moment. So, yeah, before I also want to get into it that Fire Crown Media, which is the owner of Kalmbach several Kalmbach properties, one of which is Model Railroader. Let me switch the view here. Designing and Operating Yards. This is a fairly new book by Dave Abels, and I'm looking forward to reading all about this and figuring out how I can better design a yard. And let me see. So there's that came in. I also got 2 more binders because I'm a collector, so I keep things. And so I keep my model railroaders. I have going back 5 or 6 years right now. The other one that came up, and this is, hey, Klondike, good morning. Thanks for joining the show. Is this book by Robert J. Church. It's called Steam Days in Dunsmuir. And this is it has based on a actual Southern Pacific engineer named Dick Murdoch on his book, Smoke in the Canyon. So this has got a lot of great photos about Dunsmuir. Dunsmuir is in Northern California, and it was just on the southern side, I think, of this. Is it the Siskiyous? I forget what the name of the mountains are in southern Oregon, but it was just on that side of it, which means that's where they maintained and had helpers to go up the big grade through the mountain passes there. that are in Southern Oregon. And if you've ever gone up I-5 in that time, you know that is often, the pass is often closed with snow. There's actually been people that are a little bit north of there, a couple decided to go and try to get out to the coast on a mountain road, and it didn't end well for them. Let me say that. Anyways, some more sadness here, but I always like to add, this is added to my collection of books about things in this area of the country. So why? I'm Great Northern, right? Why do I have SP books? Well, some of you might know, at least one or two people on the call know, my dad was born in Redding, California in 1943. And so that Redding is close to the railroad. Railroad goes through there. I do believe, I should double check on that. I'm pretty sure that it does, but maybe it doesn't. Anyways, and it's right, Redding is one of that town's very close to Mount Shasta. So then I also have this book, but I've had this book for a while. I picked this up from a local bookstore named Powell's Books. And I picked it up quite a while ago. I don't see the date on it. Oh yeah, 2018. So August 28th, 2018, I picked this book up. This book is also a great reference for looking for photos of steam, looking for pictures of this and that, also of the rail lines going up and down on SP. And then the last book that I have, and this was one that I bought, but my dad has this originally. So this is, he also liked McCloud River Railroad. So Pine Across the Mountain, and here's their logo. You may see some cars. In fact, I've got one sitting up in the little display case that has all my dad's memorabilia in it. So yeah, who did I miss? Wesley, welcome to the show. Glad you enjoyed your breakfast. My breakfast was apple slices and coffee. It's my daily ritual. I get almost all the apple slice, and then I give a bit to my dog because he waits for it expectantly. That's our morning routine. Okay, so let's go back. We'll get back over to see the military train for people who've just joined. I haven't seen this run by yet, so we'll do that. And I'll catch up on the chat here. Yeah, I know what you mean, JP. So here we go. These two locomotives, and I forget which ones they are. I think they're aces. They might not be. We're going to go about painted and unpainted models here. I figured these dragon wagons, which are actually for pulling, I think they're made for pulling Vietnam era tanks around. So M60s, that would be a M60 is a Patton. Oh, we got stuck here. The train is stuck on something. What is it stuck on? Probably on the computer. Okay. Hold on here. We can make some more room for it. Small technical difficulty. Okay. And then get that wire out of the way. Okay, sorry about that. The train was delayed. Luckily, it didn't seem to have any impact on it. He's now running slightly behind schedule. Yeah, so where was I at? Yes. No, it didn't time out the computer throttle. That will happen on my TCS. This actually will get timed out. But here's the other thing I want to go into. And let me see if I can do that without causing a ruckus here. I'm going to go and share the desktop and go over to here. I think that's, is that good enough? Tools, view, slideshow. Okay, so there, full screen. There is that, and this is that rivet counter, scale trains. And it's going to go through automatic here. So here they are passing in front of, oh, we lost a load. One of the transformers fell off. And I think that it has fallen out of the way. I'm going to take the other transformer off. And let me go back through the slide deck here so I can narrate that after I had that little interruption. Okay, so that's that first. Pretty detailed. This rivet counter is fairly good. It's just a shame that it doesn't run. And behind it is its sibling in SP colors. And there you can see a little bit more of that detail there. That's in front of this photo print. Not sure why we've got something bleeding through in the background of this picture. Interesting. But there's another slide that's hinted in the background here. I'm not really sure what's going on with this slideshow. Okay, another one, and that's a great dirtied up Western Pacific boxcar. Here I took a picture. I've got these other SD40-2. I forget if this is scale trains or if it is, I think it is scale trains, but it might be BLI. I forget what it is. That's 1876 Burlington Northern in that bicentennial paint scheme. I actually have two more coming that are GP38s, I think. One is 1776 and the other one is 1976. So let's see, my Dan, not seeing the slide. We're not seeing the slides because I didn't. Okay. Thanks, Dan. I couldn't see that I wasn't showing them. Okay, here we go. Let's start over again. Let's switch to camera view. Thanks, Dan, for texting me. So, yeah, so here's the slides of that SP unit. We'll go over this again, or you can just replay in your head everything I just said, since I can't see the chat while I'm showing this. Technical difficulties and such. Okay, so there's that SD40 OT-2. It's a shame it's not running, but it looks really nice. And there's that Western Pacific, the Feather River route. Here is that other SD40, I believe, and I think that is that. Let's look at, see, compare that. That is not an SD40-2. This is something different. I forget what this is. But I'll figure it out later. Okay, this right here is the light control panel. with the starting of the level that I'll have on that, not fascia board, but I guess you call it the valence. I don't know, whatever you call that, to block the lights there. So that will be, I've got that sit, so from the top level, it sits about 3.5 inches down. And then what's behind that? So you've got in here, you've got 3 little push buttons that are lit up. Each one of those controls or will control the lights, the lighting on the layout. And then you've got the voltage, the amperage, and there's a temperature readout in Celsius. This is what it looks like. I made a little box for this, and that's a computer power supply. I put little wood blocks around it to make sure it doesn't shift around. There's that breakout board in the upper right. You can see the red and the green LED lights indicate that it is on. Red light means it's ready. And then that breaks out to provide voltages for the display LEDs, as well as I'm breaking out, let's see, 6 parts of the 12 volts. So all the 12 volts come back together again. And then the one thing that's missing here that I will install is, and it's recommended by those switches that I have, I'll be putting some circuit breakers or fuses, and they recommend a 7.5 amp fuse. So I'll go look for like a bus bar fuse and the little slide-in things before those go out to the lights. And that's just there for protection of the power supply and of the light switch. The nice thing about these push buttons, and I'm going to transition back over to the train there. The nice thing about these push buttons is you can do a long press on them, and that will allow you to dim them, at least somewhat. So let me go back over to chat and see what's happened. Yes, we're not seeing the pictures. Yep. He texted me. Yep. Brad has arrived. Thanks for joining, Brad. We've got 15 people. So the other thing, we're about halfway through the show. Hey, if you could, doesn't hurt you too much, please like. If you really like it and you're here and you're not a subscriber, get to be a subscriber of the show. And actually, due to some newfound things, I can put that in the show now. Okay, there we go. Isn't that a nice little gizmo? We can also shift back to the duck if we wanted to, but I kind of like the Rocky logo right there. So, hey, Julianne, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining. So let's see, where are we now? Layout photos are next week. So next week's show, we will have layout photos, which you too, if you're on Roy Smith's Facebook page, the Union Pacific, or is it N-Scale Union Pacific Evanston Subdivision Facebook group. If you're on there, you too can post photos there. And JP posted some great photos of his previous layout from over 10 years ago, which he started over 20 years ago. I think he said he started that in 2003 and then ripped it out in 2014, if I am correct, remembering what he said, what he wrote. And let's see, Rocky's standing there for anybody who's new to the show. when did you move the lights? Okay, I didn't, to be honest, I didn't really move the lights. I just put in a power supply that will power all of them, or I hope to power all of them. That's a central power supply. So that's what I did, and I just completed that, at least the start of that. I've got some more work to do on that upper level, including I'm going to extend it to the door frame, and the fascia board will sit right behind the door frame trim. So I'll give a complete continuity from the start of the wall there all the way around, and then I have to figure out if I'm going to do a rounded end here or not. I'm not sure about that. Yes, they were down the middle, and I moved them to the front, and it seems to be lit quite well. And also that means because they're not down the middle, even if you squat fairly low, you won't be able to see them. The one thing I'm noticing right now, because the plywood's just sitting on the benchwork and it's not fixed down, that I can see, and there's no fascia board, I can see the lights shining through the cracks. Yeah, so what you saw was the lights were shining in the middle. I think there were 2 strips of them. But it turns out I don't think I need 2 strips, not on this level at least. And if you're an astute viewer, you might also see down at the end I've got the more yellowed versions of the lights versus the whiter version. Yeah, so what you recall, good catch there, JP, from previous show. Howdy, SB Mike. Welcome to the show. Thanks for watching. You're about to see something SP come by right by Rocky very soon. It's coming into the yard. JP, what you recall was I just had, when I first got that bench work for the second level installed and I was rushing to do stuff, I just temporarily just strung the lights underneath there. It wasn't stuck down or actually even divided up. And there she goes. Scale Trains SD40OT-2. Number board is 8568 for those that are interested. And we'll go back over here and we'll see it come right by the camera. Here's the Foamer view right there. And she's carrying 4 loads of telephone poles and formerly had 2 transformers on there, but one of them fell off and I took the other one off. So if anybody has any good recommendations for how you go about temporarily fixing your loads to flat cars, post it in the chat or put a comment on the video and let me know what you use to do that, because log loads and whatnot on flat cars or even on spine cars, they often shift around. It's a little annoying. Yeah, the transformer was delivered. That's for sure. I think we're going to be doing a insurance collection on that one. But they weren't tied down, so what can we do? Okay, so where were we? Yes, next week. Tack tabs or museum putty. They are clear. Okay. I've actually got some tack tabs for fixing my foam core board to the wall there. Might look at that. They felt like they were a little bit big and a little thick, but yeah. Let's see. Train's coming again. Okay. It's a little boring. I didn't have time to actually set up another train. Although, what I can do is do something I haven't shown anywhere else yet. Is once that military train comes past the cabin. Okay, JP, I will take a look. I am quite a big abuser of buying stuff on Amazon. So there you go for SP Mike, my military train. This one, I don't know how they put it together, but I'm guessing this one came out of Fort Lewis, north of here, and is on its way to the training facility down east of where JP lives, out Barstow, Bakersfield area. There's a big training facility there. So it's headed down. Maybe in some UP covers. Maybe I should have SP there. Yep. Yermo's at least one of them. Okay. Let's talk about next week. So next week will be the layout photos of the month. And that's for July 2025. And then I'm not sure what we're doing for the rest of August yet. I have not planned it out yet. So I know, let's see. Today's the 2nd. So the 9th is layout photos. We have the 16th and the 26th. 26th will be running trains again. So 19th is the only one I have to figure out. So we will definitely figure something out. And the cool thing is I will have had a week of vacation time to figure it all out. So there you go. Yeah. So we got the mail call stuff in. What else did I get in the mail? Well, I think that's it. I've got the locomotives. I got the we could do a little bit more in depth there. Although what has happened to the second level right now is it's become the storage area. So I probably need to make the third level. But that making the third level right now will mean that it'll be harder to work on the second level. So I'm probably not going to do that yet. I may, by the 19th, have completed or almost completed the bench work for the second level. And I'm not certain about the end cap yet. So the end cap is just to the, let's see, just behind the camera that you're looking at right now. So what I was going to do, I was going to take you and look. So I have this locomotive. I picked up these Bachmann used boxcars. It's Benjamin Franklin. There's Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson, and George Washington. And then to end it, we've got this bicentennial themed Burlington Northern caboose. I picked those all up. Closet branch. know about second level storage. Yes, I have observed this phenomena at your location, Pete. So Dats, welcome to the show. Thanks for watching. We're up to 18 people. Thanks everybody. And I'll go back with my little gimmick here. Please like and subscribe. Spread the word. Spread the word out there. That's cool. So yeah, that's what I think we've got coming up in August. And then September, that first weekend, I think, is Labor Day weekend. And Labor Day weekend, oh, I just noticed something. I don't think you saw the bicentennial thing, so because I didn't transition that camera. Nice. Well, that was the caboose. If I pull this back, oh, hands of God. Washington, Jefferson, Declaration of Independence, Benjamin Franklin, and that bicentennial. And here we go. Okay. Just in case I messed up. I really should have a director. I really like how this military train has turned out, and I still have to get up and going with some painting here and tack these cars down so they don't move around. The Abrams don't move around too much, but everything else does. See, if you had the track live, you could have dialed up the loco and moved it with the throttle. Well, actually, that is true, but the track is not live. I have it turned off. I think I only have 2 or 3 of these things turned on right now. Yes. Poke. But then also switching live while you're running trains, while you're talking and trying to do all the camera work is probably, it's just easier to just do the hand of, do as they call it. No, that's a different thing. Deus ex machina, I think, is hand of God in Latin. Okay. I was going to talk a little bit about Shasta. I did talk about Shasta. I didn't do a full treatment there. I think that deserves an entire show of itself to talk about why I appreciate Mount Shasta, even though I haven't seen it that much myself. Certainly, it was right there to see, just like Mount Hood or Mount Rainier are in the Pacific Northwest here. So that'll be another show. I'm not sure when yet. I need to actually put some research together for that. Okay, so that's about all I've got. Oh, here's the other thing that we see today. I actually have two cameras running. Both of these are Logitech cameras. They're both the same model, and it turns out, unlike, I guess, on a PC for our friend Ray out on Sidetrack Sunday, he said he can never get those two to work together. On the Mac, they're working fine. And another thing, you can only see the back of it. Let's transition there as that SP comes by. Not going to see much of it. But you can see the back of my new laptop. So I decided after 5 years of my MacBook Air that it would be retired, and it's off for exchange, recycling, or whatnot. And I have a new MacBook Pro here that is more capable than my previous ones, and I'm hoping this sees me through to my actual retirement, which is coming up faster than I would like. Seeing as I have a love-hate relationship with work. I love it at times and I hate it at other times. And sometimes I was like, man, I should just retire. So let's get back to the main. I'm wearing one of these t-shirts that I picked up at one of the model train shows this year. And that is the 4449 SP, since we had a little bit of SP theme today. I know I'm amusing and pleasing JP and Mike, SP Mike. Okay, thanks JP. Yeah. Oh, here's something else I have. So if any of you ever get out of line, I can take this wrench to you. So this wrench, I don't know the exact history to this, but this wrench was given to my father by somebody who said this wrench is a Pexto forged solid steel. It's not a crescent wrench, but it was made for working on in the shops. It says solid steel USA. And it's you can see it's not just like drop forged or anything like that. This is actually feels like somebody's hands actually worked on it to make this. So that's a pretty cool little artifact. Well, you're out there doing physical move arounds and sit down, of course, JP. I'm at home most of the time, although most of the time I'm home. Ever since whatever the people nickname for COVID. Oh, look, my throttle has turned itself off. I probably lost control of the train. Nope, I have not. So we'll bring the trains around one more time. We'll bring those around one more time here for the camera view, the SP, and then I'll park the SP in the yard, and then we'll tie the show up. Yep. I think, Pete's retired, and James is retired, and Dwight is retired. So, yep. Hopefully we need to do some stuff to get some younger people into the hobby, because sometimes you're really tired about going into the train shop and you really only see old guys there. So let's see. I am reversing the SP here because he missed his turnout. I usually try to put these things resting on a track other than track 1. This track 1 is right at the edge. So bear with me while I actually do some movements here. I'll see he's cleared the points. Okay, yep, it's cleared the points. Switch turnout 1, throw. Switch turnout 2, throw. Okay, that's good. We're ready to go. Get that guy back up there. When you retire, you're getting older and lazy and no money. Yeah, there's that. And less money over time because, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Fortunately, I think I've saved enough. Depends on what the market does. Anyways, let's not talk about that. Right now, I'm still earning money and will be for another few years. So, yeah, got the SP coming right by in front of the foaming camera. On track 2 this time. There she goes. Then we'll take her around to the other end of the yard. And we'll see the military train is coming in right behind her. Yeah, I'll talk about what you just said in a moment here, JP. One thing that I did miss out, I never asked. Okay, that one's parked, and we're going to take this down to yard speed. It's probably not even yard speed. It's probably, if this is accurate, she's still going 25 miles an hour. Nice, JP. Right now, I don't have any Great Northerns on here except my big Sky Blue. I should do something about that. Yeah. JP, yeah, next NMR president said he would have op sessions and tag-alongs were encouraged. It was his way of setting the hook. I'm not actually sure. So my hook got set by my dad. Couple of ways. First, we did a lot of rail fanning. We actually went up to what was then called the Shasta Huff and Puff, which was a train that ran on McCloud River Railroad trackage when I was a young kid, 3 or 4 years old. Later, we rode trains, I think twice, the Durango in Silverton. That's actually a nice one to go take a look at if you haven't. A really nice excursion there. And then, of course, there was the county fair. So the county fair was a time where that was where there was the local model railroad club had their building. And as part of their lease for staying there year round was that they would have trains running during the fair so people could come and see that. It was also about a couple of buildings over was the models. There was never a lot of models, but there was some people did some pretty amazing diorama stuff even then. Yeah. So model trains were there, and it was the one time really at that model railroad club where kids were, I won't say they were tolerated. They were tolerated and allowed to run trains because keeping trains running on that layout required about 4 or 5 people, and the adults didn't always want to just run trains in circles. I mean, it was a big circle, but and actually there was a point to point, but most of it was loop to loop. Yeah, most of them really didn't want to spend all their time, hours and hours and hours, sitting for 3 days, 3 or 4 days at the fairgrounds. So that we got an opportunity to do that at the time, and so that's what really, you know, set the hook for me. And then later in life, my dad sent me his. He had built or started to build an N scale layout. Stopped doing that. Later on, I started to build one. Stopped doing it, and then I received a package from him when he was clearing out stuff. He decided he no longer needed the N scale that he'd been carrying with him all over the place. So he sent that to me. One of the plus sides, that was really cool that I had. That was kind of like the incentive to start acquiring things that worked, because he sent me one engine, which is a locomotive, which is a Santa Fe. I think 280. I think it is. I'll have to look at it. I think that's that. But it's made by a manufacturer called Mintrix, which is a European company. I think they're the same one that do LGB, or they've since combined. Anyways, that was my hook. And then a few years ago, I can tell by the 2018. So right around 2018 is when I started building a layout again, and I did that in my garage, in my townhouse, and then I rebuilt it in the garage, and then we moved to this house, and this has been a work in progress for 4 years now. So let's see in the chat. Kevin Brown says, that's why I really enjoy being part of a modular layout at a train show, having fun and setting the hook, hopefully. Yep. I really appreciate people like you, Kevin, that are doing that. They are really fun to watch. Brother Dan says, Forestry Service had a small semi-restored steam engine tender parked on the fairgrounds as well. Yeah, I think it was on loan from the lumber company. Yeah. And I think that's since been pulled out of there. It's actually there's a museum where I think it's parked. It was kind of like not well parked. You have to go back and take a picture where that's at. There's also another one that it was restored that was on the lumber company. I was in Fremont for some time, but tired of setup chores and politics in the club. Yeah, there's one thing that I have to say about doing this in my own room and my own time scale, doing it my way, even though it might be the wrong way. I don't have to worry about any of that. In fact, most of the time, I don't have to worry about people chiming in, even on the channel. It's actually fairly low with just having my 455 subscribers. Amazing. It looks like we're about 40 some away from having to think about 500. So yeah, at some point, I mean, I think visitors to run, I think that's a great idea. In fact, Pete, if you want to come over and run some of your trains around while your layout is not running, just give me a ring. We can do it. It's a little bit limited at the moment. Well, it's a large limited, but as JP says, it only is on the staging level. But hey, we got around a whole hour of having these trains run, and the only casualty was a transformer load onto the ground. Bring tools, Pete, to help with the second level. Actually, we'll talk about this sometimes. I might go over and help Pete with his. But we'll see. If he wants it, if he wants help, he knows he can seek me out. But Pete says, I know as a young kid that's at an impressionable age, I showed him I know a young kid. I showed him my layout and told him about the industry of railroading and modeling. Thank you for the invite. Okay, you're very welcome. And I think I know I've met the young kid that you're talking about. And what does Kevin Brown say? I can relate. JP T-Track is so light and easy to set up and tear down compared to other modules. Makes them easier. Yep. So we still are waiting soon to have that rail yard dedication. Recently, at least over on Facebook, Pete Motley has actually posted some great looking views of the yard. And the scenery is coming along. And I like those deer that are munching on the shrubbery and foaming at the trains going by. So anyways, I think this about wraps it up. Somehow we've made it through an entire hour of me yakking around about almost nothing, but it was all train related. So there's Rocky. Rocky says, hey, let's get out of here. I got work to do. I got mountains to climb. And so I'm JJ. That was Rocky. And he's also there and here, and he's everywhere. So thanks everybody for watching. Love that you all keep joining me every Saturday. And we'll just see you next week for Layout Photos of the Month, July edition. And that's all I got. So I'll be back. Okay. That's all, folks. See you soon.